In keeping with the spiritual principle for this month, we're continuing with a divine order. We're continuing with part 2 of the series that we launched last week, Getting the House in Order. And this series is focused on 4 key dimensions of our lives. It's the spiritual aspect, spiritual dimension of our lives, the mental aspect of life, the emotional, physical aspect of life, and also the financial aspect of life. We understand that as we work with the divine order, we're working with the 9th discipline, the 9th quality of the mind, as Charles Fillmore identified in his book, The 12 Powers. The 9th quality of the mind that corresponds with the disciple, James, son of Alphaeus, is divine order. And James, as we've said before, when unity, the core text for unity is the anthology or the Bible, that which we call the Bible. From the beginning of unity, that was the core text, although we affirm and we honor all sacred texts and we find truth in all. Yet when we interpret biblical literature, we don't necessarily interpret it from a literal perspective. We are considered transliteralists here at Unity. In fact, I would like to invite you to make this a declaration. I am a transliteralist. If you could really mean it when you say it again. I am a transliteralist. So I just saw some hands go up. You know, being a transliteralist will free us in every aspect of life in our being, especially as we are understanding, and those of us who look at biblical texts as a guide to living. Meaning that we transcend the literal interpretation. And here in Unity, we are not only transliteralists, we approach biblical literature from an esoteric, metaphysical perspective. M-E-T-A, meta, to mean to go beyond the literal, to go beyond the physical, and find the hidden spiritual meaning. And there's a hidden spiritual meaning in any sacred text, whether you read the Bible or the Bhagavad Gita, whether you read the Quran, whether you read the Kabbalah. There is a spiritual meaning in any and every sacred text. But if we seek it, we have to go to that place in order to get it. We call this metaphysics here. So James, son of Alphaeus, represents spiritually the aspect of our very own soul that seeks to bring order in the midst of chaos, order and harmony and balance in our life, world, and affairs. And there is a James inside of each one of us. If you ever entered a space and you're like, oh, we just need to get this thing in order, get this place in order. That is the James on the inside, that quality of your very own soul that is seeking to be in alignment with universal truth, to be in alignment with God. Friends, our affirmation for this month, the spiritual principle, reminds us that divine order is in order and will always be in order. Affirm this with me. Divine order is in order and will always be in order. For order is heaven's first law. That is the very first thing. If you go to the book of Genesis, the very first thing that occurred in the beginning when the Great Spirit says, let there be, it was a call for order. So that in order, we're able to move harmoniously forward in our life, world, and affairs. Order is the organized state in which elements are arranged properly. And when our life is in order, we're in the zone. When your life is in order, you got that term that I've heard recently, your swagger is intact. Have you heard that term? It's your disposition. You got rhythm. There's a kind of, somebody know what I'm talking about. You got this kind of knowingness, this confidence. You move as though you're moving, as I hear the words of Dr. Maya Angelou, you walk as though you have diamonds meeting at your thighs. Yeah, thank you, Doc. You move through life as though you have an oil well pumping in your backyard. You see, when there's order in our life, there is a kind of movement. It's a spiritual swag. Wow, that's hot off the press. and you become swagalicious. It means that you move through life. You're not stressing and straining, and you're not worried about every little nothingness that shows up. You move as the wind, knowing that you can change anything. So as we focus on getting the house in order, part 2, I'm really pleased. Last week we talked about a part of getting the house in order. There are some things that we're called to organize, and maybe there's some aspect of our house that we're called to declutter. And I'm really excited to hear a lot of the sharing. There are those of you who've been sharing your stories. You've been cleaning your closets and organizing your home and your bathroom, your bedroom, organizing your car. Someone even mentioned they went through their closet and they looked at it and said, well, do I really want this? Do I really need it? Is it really serving me? Have I used it lately? You got to go. Even if there were new tags on it, you've never worn it. The intention to establish order in our home or in any aspect of our affairs is to establish order in our mind and in our heart. There are those who have been cleaning out the house. How many of you did that this week? Cleaning out, maybe you cleaned out the garage. You're working on it anyway. You're not quite there, but you're working on it. Cleaning out the car. Did anybody clean out your car this week? Cleaning out the closets and cleaning out the office. There are those who say they cleaned off their desk. Thank God for that. Cleaning the home and house, we understand. House is where we live. Joel Goldsmith says, the house is your consciousness. That's home. And when the home is out of order, I don't care what we do, how hard we work, how hard we strive, how much we study. If the house is out of order, the affairs will be out of order because the house is our life. He says, consciousness is what I am. So as we consider getting the house in order, part 2, we're focusing on the mental house now. Getting the mental house in order. Clearing the mental clutter. And I would dare say that we all may have that mental clutter at times. And mental clutter, and let's contextualize mental clutter. Mental clutter in this context is defined as the stuff that not only takes up space in our brain, but continues to live rent-free as we feed, clothe, and sustain it. Mental clutter is the stuff that's just there. It's like having tenants paying no rent. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Taking up your place, occupying your home, moving around like they are the owners in your home, but contributing nothing to your well-being. That stuff. The mental clutter is the stuff that sends us on all sorts of twists and turns in life that eventually leads us down paths and roads that absolutely goes nowhere. It is the stuff that we hold on to. And if we let the mental clutter, it will move in and take permanent residence in our life. The mental clutter that we all know, we've all heard, we know about the mental clutter. Worry is one of the primary aspects of mental clutter. Worrying. How many of you know about that clutter? The clutter of worry. You can't move about because of that clutter. Worry is everywhere. Worrying about what's going to happen. How are you going to be sustained? How are you going to make it if this happens? What are you going to do tomorrow? How are you going? And what do we base the worry on, really? The master teacher says, look at the fox. They don't worry about where they're going to sleep. Look at the birds, the fowls. They don't worry about what they're going to eat. Look at the lilies of the field. Do they worry about if they're going to get water and sunshine? But you are the beloved of God. Why are you worrying? When David says that the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The other aspect of mental clutter is fear. That's worry's cousin. You know that. Fear is worry's cousin. We're afraid of moving far, afraid. And fear is, I love our acronym for fear here at Unity. Fear is false evidence appearing real. There's no truth in it. Fear is oftentimes based on something past or what we think might happen in the future. And then that other key aspect of mental clutter is negative self-talk. You know, negative self-talk. We're giving it to ourselves. You know that, you shouldn't wear. You know that you need to, you know that you don't need it. You know that you should do better. You know that negative self-talk that we have allowed to clutter our mind. And friends, if we don't rid the mind of the clutter, it begins to press itself out in our life, world, and affairs. So there are 3 causes to mental clutter. There's another book. I really enjoy reading, and I think those of you who are contributing to my personal library. See, when I came here, I only brought with me 2 small bags, and I released everything else, but just a couple of boxes, because I really worked on practicing the principle that the Buddhists teach, and that is the principle of detachment. But also, as we're moving through this process, we are practicing and applying the minimalist principle, meaning that we are ridding ourselves of the excessive things, the excess in life, that which is just there, but it's serving no purpose, like the clothes in your closet that you haven't worn in years. It's just there occupying space. So, and I love reading, and you're contributing to my library. In his book, Peter Walsh, Clearing Mental Clutter to Become the Best You, entitled, he says, Enough Already, he asks a series of questions. Are you in your life? Does the clutter of your life keep you so preoccupied with people, events, failures, or achievements from the past that you are terrified that if you let go of it, you will lose a part of yourself? Question number 3, he asks, are you fearful of what tomorrow might bring and so hold on to things just in case? Question 4, does your stuff take precedence over your relationships, causing friction and arguments? Question number 5, are you invested in living your most authentic life now or clinging to what you own for dear life? Are you willing to be present? Or are you willing to stay in the past? The 3 causes of mental clutter. The first cause is avoidance. The second cause is indecision. And the third cause is procrastination. The first cause, avoidance, the act of avoiding or keeping away from anything that might be a little uncomfortable, or abiling at times rejection, or avoiding the fear of rejection, avoiding responsibility, avoiding the ability to respond to life and in life. It is at times avoiding pain, avoiding having to make a decision. Anybody ever avoided that? You wanted somebody else to make the decision. I just don't want to have to make this decision. The second cause, he says, is indecision, or postponing decisions, putting it off for that other day. You know that other day. Another day. I'll do it another day. I'll do it some other day. Tell me, what day is that in the week? What day is another day? Or I'll do it another day. I'll do it on another day. And that day never comes. It's putting it off, the inability to decide what to keep, the inability to decide what to release, our inability to decide what to forgive, our inability to decide what's most important now. The third cause that he says, a mental clutter, is procrastination. Putting it off, putting things off, putting off living today for tomorrow. Waiting rather than stepping into the eternal now, as the great teacher taught, Dr. Wayne Dyer. stepping into the eternal now. So very quickly, I just want to offer you these 4 steps to clear mental clutter, just in case there's someone here who might be working on organizing and decluttering your life. The first thing is to assess the mess. Acknowledge it. Open up the closet. Look at it. It might be Pandora's box, but just open it up. Be willing to look at what's there. Assess it. And then number 2, begin to sort through it as you can. Sort it out. Maybe you're not ready to release it, but you can at least begin to categorize stuff in your life. It might be people, places, and things. It might be situations, circumstances, but just sort it out. Number 3, plan your attack. Get ready to make the change, but you plan it in the mind, because we understand that there's a first cause to everything. And that first cause is in the mind of man, the mind of woman. Plan it. It might be strategizing an hour a week, an hour a day that you can give to just decluttering, organizing the space, an hour a day to getting the closet together, getting the house together. It might be one movement at a time, but it's a commitment to getting the space and the place in order, getting the mind in order. And then number 4 is avoiding future traps. Avoiding the potential of being trapped by the clutter once again. I shared with the earlier service that there is a principle, a tool that we have that can help clear out mental clutter. It is called the liquid Drano of the soul. Oh yeah. It will clear out anything that has become clogged in your life. The liquid Drano of the soul is called forgiveness. To forgive ourselves first, then to forgive the other. To forgive, in its true definition, means to give to give some actual definite good in return for the seeming wrong. Forgive and allow the forgiveness to do just as the rain blessed us this morning, that rain that comes to just wash away all of the stuff. I'll leave you with these words. It says, rid yourself of clutter. Quoting Isaiah 26:3, it says, you will keep them in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on you because they trust you. Sometimes we complicate our life by taking on things that God has not told us to do. We add stress, confusion, and clutter with the unnecessary things we take on and hold on to. We need to use our faith and let go of whatever clutters our mind and keep us from peace. Ask the Spirit of God inside of you to show you ways to simplify your life. Take an inventory today and start throwing out whatever is filling your life with unproductive distractions. God wants you to enjoy your day, so get rid of whatever the Spirit of truth shows you to give up. Let's get the house in order. God bless you.